This is ABC7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Almost the appearance of a coral graveyard. There's broken pieces of coral. It's gray and white in color, and it just looks like a bunch of bones.
Coral bleaching hits hard on Suncoast waters. A look at what's happening and how it impacts local ecosystems. Good evening, I'm Ray Collins. Alan Cohn is off tonight. Tonight, we'll discuss an event going on underwater that is affecting marine life and could affect a lot more. But first, our top 7 stories at 7. Topping our news tonight after years of trying to reach an agreement over who will foot the bill for improvements on a stretch of road in North Sarasota, the county, city, and a railroad company still have yet to reach a verdict. Neighbors say enough is enough. The intersection of Myrtle Street and Central Avenue, where the railroad tracks meet, is in desperate need of repairs, especially to a drainage system which is causing a flooding issue.
We just can't get it done. This is a county project, even though much of this is in the city, but our county roads, the roads are county's responsibility, and also drainage.
We don't care who does it, the county, the city, the state, federal government, which is a railroad, but it needs to be done, and it needs to be done now.
Well, county officials say they are working on the issue and plan to start construction sometime in 2019. However, many homeowners are not satisfied with that timeline. The city of Venice continues to grow, which is in need now for more people working for City Hall. There's only one problem. There isn't much more room for staff in City Hall. The mayor is suggesting purchasing an old steakhouse and making it a second City Hall building. Another option would be to add a second floor to City Hall. Contractors are looking to see if City Hall could withstand added weight of a second floor. 2 firefighters are back on the Suncoast tonight after spending several weeks out west. Firefighters from Sarasota and Manatee counties were among 80 who recently traveled to Utah to fight the devastating wildfires there. The blazes have burned 13 homes and forced the evacuation of 1,500 residents. The local firefighters say being on the line in Utah is a lot different from Florida because it's low humidity and much more windy conditions. The state is cracking down even harder now on the drug epidemic with increased penalties for those who abuse synthetic opioids. Governor Scott signed a bill into law today that says people caught trafficking opioids can now be charged with murder if someone they sold to overdoses and dies. The new law also creates new penalties and makes existing penalties harsher.
This is a step. I mean, this does not solve the problem. We are going to have to keep fighting this for a long time.
State lawmakers hope the new law will help get the dangerous drugs off the streets. There's another company opening a marijuana dispensary in Florida. Knox Cannabis Dispensary opened its latest store in the state capital. The firm was one of the 7 companies now selling medical marijuana in the Sunshine State. And that brings the total number of pot dispensaries to 20 statewide, with more expected to come.
It's about helping patients. It's really, this all gets down to patients in need in the state and patients who need medication, a natural form of medication that don't have all the side effects that modern pharmaceuticals have.
And by the way, the city of Sarasota has a temporary ban on medical marijuana dispensaries. New developments tonight involving the investigation into the death of a beloved manatee on the Suncoast. The South Florida Museum in Bradenton confirmed that the Manatee Rescue and Rehab Partnership will assist them in finding out just what happened to Snooty last Sunday when it died. The group will give its recommendation of who will oversee the investigation and evaluate the circumstances that led to his death. The manatee got trapped in a maintenance tube on Sunday and drowned. Manatees can stay underwater for 20 minutes, but they cannot swim backward. A new reality show that was videotaped on the Suncoast will premiere on Monday night nationwide. The show Siesta Key will debut at 10 p.m. on MTV. Several promos have already drawn mixed reactions. It's Siesta Key, but you've not seen this before, with cast members claiming the weather is 73 degrees year-round and scenes shot miles away from Siesta in the Salty Dog near Longboat Key, not the location in Siesta Village.
I am actually really excited to see what goes down in Siesta.
I kind of had to shut it off early because it was just not accurate at all.
Well, the first show airs Monday night. We'll have 2 of the cast members on the Suncoast View tomorrow at 4 p.m. And there's no truth to the rumor that Bob Harrigan has a cameo on this program. Let's get details of the forecast, though, from our chief meteorologist. Good evening, Bob.
Good evening, Ray. Yeah, having lived out there about 18 years on Siesta Key, and it was a great time, beautiful place. And I can tell you that it is about 73 degrees there year-round if you're in your house with the air conditioning on. That's about it. It's the only time that can happen. We are looking at the weather headlines right now. They read like this: morning coastal storms possible once again. A little unusual. We normally see the afternoon and evening storms along the coast, but they'll be mainly inland in the afternoon like we saw today. But storms are on the increase for Sunday. That's the weather headlines. More storminess will be around on Sunday, and it looks as though that may continue for a while. Some bigger storms down to our south, but not much going on here. The rain that was around earlier has since pushed inland, and there's just a few spotty showers now in northeastern portions of Hardy County near Wauchula, and Braden, Sarasota, Venice, Englewood, and Northport all looking pretty good right now. Just some clouds, debris clouds left over from the earlier storms. It's 92 in Tallahassee. That's the current temperature. And 75, though. It's cool, rain cooled air in Orlando. That's what we're missing lately. The rain cooled air hasn't been around for the past several days now, since really Sunday. 94 in Jacksonville, 75 in Orlando as far as the heat index goes. That's what it feels like. It feels like 95 in Sarasota, 96 in Cortez. So things are not terribly hot out there and humid as a result of the increased cloud cover from the storms that were around. Well, currently we have sunny skies for the most part, 88 degrees. The dew point is at 75. That number is rather high, and winds are out of the west at 8. The pressure 2996. Now that pressure, interesting to note, is falling at 2996. It has been as high as look at 3005 and 3010 as the last couple of nights. So that tells me that that high pressure that had been dominating our weather is slowly getting eroded away and moving out of here. And we'll have a better chance, I think, for some showers and storms. Not so much tomorrow, but as we head into the weekend. We'll talk more about that later.
All right, talk to you soon. Thank you, Bob. And still to come, a shift in the world's oceans, hurting local ecosystems in the Gulf. A look at what's happening and what local groups are doing to reduce the negative impact of coral bleaching.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast.
Hello, I'm Jacqueline Matter.
And I'm Ray Collins. The Lee Wetherington Boys and Girls Club hosting their inaugural Rock the Boat Regatta.
We'll tell you about the boat races happening between area teens and Sarasota County CEOs. That's tomorrow on Good Morning Suncoast. John?
Slowly but surely, moisture increasing brings better rain chances into the weekend. We'll talk about that.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast. We're here for you.
I heard about the Detoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Detoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was and some additional cancers that were not found during the biopsy. I would recommend the Detoli Cancer Center. As a group of human beings, they are unbelievably great.
This is important news for women who were administered chemotherapy intravenously for breast cancer and then suffered permanent hair loss. Some women administered the breast cancer chemotherapy drug Taxotere have suffered from permanent hair loss on scalp, eyebrows, and eyelashes. If you suffered permanent hair loss after chemotherapy for breast cancer, call the law offices of Davis & Crump right now to find out if you are eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Call now. Operators are standing by.
Is your old garage door stuck or broken? Would a new one give you a lift? Let Precision Door Overhead Garage Door Service of Sarasota come to the rescue with prompt and affordable repair service. Replacement doors come with an array of styles and colors, and they are rated to meet and exceed Florida standards. From estimates to installation, your satisfaction is our priority. If you're not 100% satisfied with any product, service, or installation, we will make it right, because Precision Door Service is a name you can trust.
Ever since I can remember, I've been intrigued by industrial design and the optimization.
Wait, that's passion? Ever since I can remember, my passion has been industrial design. We need 3D printers for Miss Adams' engineering program so that we are ready to solve 21st century challenges.
Impressive. Think It Up is a new initiative to support student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classroom today? Think It Up.
ABC7, your official Florida lottery station for the Suncoast.
It's a phrase we're hearing more and more, coral bleaching. It's happening from the Great Barrier Reef here to the Suncoast. More on this now from our Kate Flexter. Kate?
Well, thanks, Ray. Scientists call it the canary in the coal mine. They say it's a sign that something might not be right in our oceans. From above, waters off the coast of Sarasota are the picture of health. But shots taken just below the surface tell a very different story.
You can clearly see evidence of decline in the coral reef and the health of the reefs in our local area.
Pieces of coral are bare and colorless, a sign of stress on the organism caused by warmer water temperatures.
Almost the appearance of a coral graveyard. There's broken pieces of coral, it's gray and white in color, and it just looks like a bunch of bones.
It's known as coral bleaching, something Lisa Regis has witnessed firsthand. She's been scuba diving for 5 years and has watched what she describes as the rapid decline in health of local coral reefs.
If our reefs are declining, what else is declining?
It's a phenomenon that's impacting reefs around the world. The hardest hit, Australia's massive Great Barrier Reef, which lost an alarming 2/3 of its coral to bleaching in the last 2 years. Here in Southwest Florida, the bleaching event is less extreme but still significant. The Department of Environmental Protection reports a 44% decline in coral from 1996 to 2005. Dr. David Vaughn is executive director for Mote Marine Laboratory in the Florida Keys. He leads a team of scientists to research and restore coral reefs.
These are like the underwater oasis. It's where most of the fish go to feed, to breed, and to get away from predators or nursery grounds.
Coral makes up less than 1% of the bottom of our oceans, and yet it plays a major role in underwater ecosystems. The organism is very slow growing, so bleaching events pose a serious threat. That's why Vaughn and his team of scientists not only work to research coral bleaching, but also to restore the organism, raising fragments of the threatened staghorn coral and planting them in the wild.
We can produce thousands of corals, just like somebody could produce thousands of trees, and we're replanting them so that we have a functioning ecosystem of a beautiful coral reef for the enjoyment of everybody.
Vaughn calls coral bleaching the canary in the coal mine. Each bleaching event a larger indicator of the overall health of our oceans.
Our oceans are an incredibly important part of this planet. It's what makes this planet habitable. And if we start losing our oceans one step at a time, we better start being concerned about mankind on this planet.
Regis encourages beachgoers to take a look below the surface and keep in mind how the health of our coral could impact our way of life.
Not very many people actually have the opportunity to get underwater and see what's even just offshore 50, 100 feet, which is a beautiful reef system that clearly has a decline in its health.
Florida's coral reefs also generate an estimated $6 billion and more than 70,000 jobs.
Interesting. Okay, thank you, Kate. Up next, we'll talk to the experts about the local impact of coral bleaching.
I am powerful beyond my wildest imagination.
I will define my future.
I will keep challenging myself to improve.
Because I am a future leader of this great nation.
I will make a difference in my community.
I will not settle for simply chasing my dreams, I will achieve them.
Because I was given a chance.
An opportunity.
At Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America.
The ultimate leadership experience.
Join us. We'll build a new future together.
Here's something we bet you didn't know. Nearly half of all cancers can be prevented. That's right, half. Nearly 50%, mostly by making small everyday changes in your diet and controlling your weight, walking more, eating less, and eating foods that help you and your family to seriously reduce the risk of cancer. And of course, by not smoking. Visit the Cancer Prevention Together We Can website and get a free 30-day planner filled with tips, recipes, stats, and more about protecting your family. Go to prevent50.org.
It's been about a month, and I can honestly say I've seen the change in me. I went from being a depressed girl who didn't want help to this happy, caring girl who loves helping other people. I just really hope that people that went through what I went through get the help that they need, because their story is important and they are loved. Thank you so much for everything.
We answered the call of duty and left our homes to serve in far-off lands. Now, we answer another call, this time at home, in our own communities, to respond in times of chaos, to use our strength, our skills, and our experiences to bring hope amid devastation and destruction. Together, as a team of brothers and sisters, we're continuing our mission to make this country a little stronger and a little better each day. We are Team Rubicon.
All hands on deck. What's up? I want to point out 3 tips for using the home computer more safely. Point away.
First, stop. Make sure your software is up to date and that you've password protected your computer's login and Wi-Fi connection.
Next, think before visiting a site, opening attachments, or clicking on links.
Then connect, knowing you're helping make the web safer for you
and for everyone. Make Stop, Think, Connect part of your daily online routine.
Welcome back. For the past 3 years, a massive coral bleaching event has been impacting local Gulf waters and worldwide, really. Part of the issue is the record temperatures of the water. But there is some encouraging news. Some scientists say the effect is now slowing. Even that is controversial, though. Tonight, our guests include the professor of marine biology at New College of Florida, Dr. Sandra Gilchrist on the left, the president and CEO of Mote Marine, Dr. Michael Crosby in the middle, and the founder and president of the Southwest Florida Women Divers Club, Lisa Regis. Thank you all for being here.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
So many laymen, like myself, are not overly familiar with coral bleaching. Let's just lob you a softball to start, Dr. Gilchrist. How would you describe it, let's say, to a 5th grade class?
Okay. Coral bleaching, in essence, is when the coral itself, which is an animal, has its zooxanthellae, which is an alga, that leaves. And so that makes the tissue look white or a golden color because it's those algae that actually give it the color that they have. Without those algae, they are deprived of a part of their carbon source, which is a food source. So alone, the coral animal is in an area that is almost a desert, if you will. And I would talk to students about deserts and how the resources are depleted in those kinds of areas. So
I guess a real 101 fact is, Dr. Crosby, that corals itself are animals. Mm-hmm. Corals are animals, and the plants within are called the algae.
Yes, and if you really think of a coral reef and the coral polyp itself as a mini community, it is really everything. It is a rock, it is an animal, and it is a plant. Mm-hmm. Because as Dr. Gilchrist said, the coral itself, the polyp, is an animal. It has that symbiotic algae that lives in a very close relationship with it as a plant. And it produces calcium carbonate, which is really that hard skeleton, that rock that most people think of as the coral reef. And in fact, that is a very important component of the reef's great value to us and to human society, is that reef acts as a form of coastal barrier, if you will, to large waves and storms. Florida Keys, for instance, would not exist without good, healthy coral reef ecosystems.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Now, Lisa, you formed a local dive club with no intention of becoming an expert on coral bleaching, but then what happened next?
Well, we had a lot of interest from some of our members in getting more involved with underwater conservation efforts and what we could do in our community to play part in that. And so recently, Stanford and Columbia University had located and reached out to me to get involved in a project where we would compile photos and video footage on our local dives to actually compile some images that they would then use in research on their end. So,
Dr. Gilchrist, warming seems to be the reoccurring theme here, but not everyone believes that global warming is a fact. And in fact, NOAA says that the bleaching is slowing down. Is that true too?
Yes and no. What they're talking about is a global event, and there have been supposedly 3 recorded global events. And so what you see globally is that there are areas that have slowed down, but locally
it's a very different picture. So while you have that global model, if you look at Florida, we're in an area that happens to have a moderate slowdown rather than this nice slowdown that people are talking about. So the model itself is a very broad model, and it has its values because it's looking at sea surface temperature, but there's a lot of caution out there among scientists that there are pockets and certainly large areas where we really aren't seeing a slowdown. And then we also have potentially ocean acidification, which is coming in and also stressing the corals. So we're not out of the woods yet, even though there are some changes that we're seeing.
All right, hold that thought. We'll take a quick break, talk more about this in a moment. We'll have the forecast as well. After this, stay with us.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
This is an important medical announcement. Bard IVC filters have been linked to punctured veins and problems with migration. Anyone who's received a Bard IVC filter must receive medical monitoring and may be entitled to substantial compensation. If you have the Bard Recovery G2 or G2 Express filter, you are in a class of patients who should be compensated for some expenses. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. This call is confidential, there's no cost, and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to people who should have been warned about the risks of the Bard IVC filters. Call the IVC Filter Hotline if you or a loved one has received an IVC filter and experienced a vein puncture or required medical monitoring. You must call now.
Call 800-329-3089. 800-329-3089.
Who else has been taking your prescriptions? Keep your medicine and your family safe and secure. Mind your meds. To learn how we can help, visit the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids at drugfree.org.
Because my parents told me I have to be responsible.
Because my first coach told me, you can do this.
Because my boss showed me how to do a good job.
Because my teacher helped me see the choices.
I'm swimming faster than I ever dreamed.
I am a valuable employee.
I discovered that I could work as an artist.
I will be whatever I want to be.
Youth with disabilities should grow up expecting to work and succeed. For more information, visit whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com for Chef Judy's favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
Much more on coral bleaching next, but first, the forecast from our chief meteorologist, Bob Harrigan. Bob?
Thanks, Ray. We had a nice rainbow this morning, a lot of photos sent in, and pictures and videos, too. Art Conforti getting this one, looking out toward Longboat Key. It was brilliant. It was around for a long time, too, and that was a result of the morning storm. We're in this pattern that we're going to see the possibility of another one tomorrow, one or two out there. There it is on the Van Wezel webcam, showing you that it was around for about an hour as it made its way off toward the east. It depends on your vantage point, obviously. Titan radar picture showing not a lot of rain now. We had a few isolated storms that were mainly inland this afternoon. Those are since gone. Some showers and storms down to our south still firing up. And what's happening is this high pressure ridge continues to situate itself to the west of us, and we're getting that westerly onshore flow throughout much of the day, and that forces most of the action well inland. The evening planner looks to be pretty warm up until 11 o'clock. We'll see clouds around mainly. Now, there will be a chance for a shower or a thunderstorm to develop in the Gulf, say after 2 o'clock in the morning once again, and could be around near sunrise. Currently, we have sunshine. The heat index still pretty warm out there, 98 degrees. The actual air temperature at 88. Winds are out of the west at 8, and the pressure has been falling slightly at 29.96 inches now. The high today was 1 degree above normal. It was a warm start, too, at 78. 97, the record set in 1916. actually in 2016. No rainfall to report today, 2.14 inches so far, below average for the month. Well, in the tropics, it's been relatively quiet for a few weeks now, really. We are watching this area of disturbed weather. This is a tropical wave. It's moving to the west now. No organization over the next 48 hours, but things may change in about 3 days from now. The National Hurricane Center is giving this a 30% chance of developing in the next 5 days. It's way out there in the Atlantic. We'll watch it now. Water temperatures out there is starting to really warm up too. In the Pacific, we have a couple of storms we're watching, Irwin and also Hillary. Hillary now a hurricane and this a tropical storm. And they're very close to one another. Only about 500 miles separates the two storms out there in the Pacific, causing no problems to any land area. Well, Futurecast looks like this. So we're going to see a possibility of a few showers and storms making their way off toward the east. At 2:30 in the morning, not much going on, but we'll start to see the possibility of some storms developing in the eastern Gulf of Mexico as a result of the land breeze, and then those will have a tendency to move inland in the afternoon and evening. The reason why the pattern changes here is because of a frontal boundary and a trough of low pressure to the north of us. It's kind of bumped that high pressure ridge down to our south. That gives us this westerly flow, which has a tendency to bring a lot of storms to the east coast, not too many here. But by Sunday, things will start to change a little bit. We'll still see that westerly flow, but there'll be a lot more moisture in the atmosphere and some instability. So a better chance for showers and storms. Starts a little bit on Saturday, but more so Sunday, and it will stick around throughout all of next week with a good chance for some widespread rainfall. Temperatures are cooler in Boston now, 70 there, 79 in Toronto, 81 in St. Louis, not too bad. 98 though, hot in Dallas now, and 94 in New Orleans. Atlanta has cooled to 76 as a result of some storms nearby. Well, here's the forecast for boaters tomorrow. Less than 2-foot seas out there. We're going to see a light chop on the bays and inland waters. Winds out of the southwest, turning to the west. And then 91, the water temperature. It is warm. That's about as hot as it gets here in the Gulf of Mexico. Sunset 8:22. Sunrise will be at 6:52. Partly cloudy. A 20% chance for some storms developing overnight. 79 for a low temperature. Tomorrow, 91 degrees for the high with a 30% chance for a few morning storms. And there it is. The chances for rain increase significantly on Sunday and stay high through Thursday of next week. Ray will be back with the panel right after this. Stick around.
Attention, Americans eligible for Medicare. Are you getting all the benefits you're entitled to? Did you know there may be money available to lower your medical prescription costs? Call Health Markets and we'll tell you if you qualify.
Hi, I'm Dr. Martin Jeetsi. It's a new Medicare year. That means more changes and more confusion. The key question is, what can you do now to ensure you get the care you need in the coming year?
Call Health Markets today. You may qualify to save money on prescriptions. We'll help you find plans that may cost less, cover more, and could even lower your prescription costs to increase your savings. We help you find all the benefits you're entitled to, and we do it at no cost.
Make sure you have what you need to get the care that's right for you.
Find out if you qualify to receive extra help with your prescriptions. Call the number on the screen now. Representatives are standing by.
Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View.
One of the Suncoast's best beaches is about to go national. I'm Stephanie Roberts. On Suncoast View, we go behind the scenes with the new MTV reality show, Siesta Key, plus a new sneak peek before its big debut next week. Pam and Les McCurdy join us, and we'll celebrate their anniversary. We'll get appetizer ideas for entertaining, plus hair color help from Cutting Loose and photo booth fun.
Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Yeah, I have questions.
Prescription drugs aren't as bad as street drugs, right?
Weed's legal, isn't it?
Drinking is worse than smoking weed.
Isn't it? Why
is heroin so addictive?
Molly just makes you feel happy.
I have questions.
Mom?
Dad, did you ever try drugs?
They're going to ask. Be ready. Go to drugfree.org. A message from Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
My name is Julius. I have cerebral palsy. I work for Farmer Jeffy Weising Law Firm. I do a lot of data entry and scanning documents. I want to increase my working experience to make the company much better. At the end of the day, it's good to think of the day's work and to think about what I have accomplished.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to abilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Welcome back. Tonight we are discussing how the heat is affecting the marine life in the ocean. Our guests tonight include the professor of marine biology at New College of Florida, Dr. Sandra Gilchrist, the president of Mote Marine, Dr. Michael Crosby, and the founder of the Southwest Florida Women Divers Club, Lisa Regas. Before we went to the break, we were talking about coral bleaching and its problem from the Great Barrier Reef to the Suncoast. But Dr. Crosby, how much coral reef is there off of the Suncoast?
Well, there's a fair amount actually here. We're in a good location for it in terms of water temperature. It's not quite as clear of water as we would find down in the Keys, but there are some very, very prominent coral reef habitats here, and it's important that we monitor those reefs as well because they contribute to a good, healthy ocean as well.
And Lisa, you formed your dive club about 4 years ago, you said. When you first began diving, had you ever heard of coral bleaching before?
I actually had not. In fact, I had not. And we just started out at recreationally diving in the area. And I'd say in the last couple of years when we'd be diving offshore, like off the beaches, you can tell something wasn't right. You could tell some of the coral was a little bit distressed. But especially this year, it's a lot more evident just in the last year, I'd say.
And you said during the break one of the hot spots for diving for coral is off Holmes Beach?
Well, we call it Spanish Rocks, and it's a reef about the size of a football field, and it's just off the beach, about 50, 100 feet off the beach, and is absolutely spectacular. So,
Good. Dr. Gilchrist, how much of your curriculum at New College deals with coral bleaching?
That would be hard to actually say because we have aspects of it in chemistry, aspects in biology and physics, and even in ethics classes and things like that. So I would say there's not necessarily a huge portion, but it's sort of woven throughout the curriculum in different areas because it's not something that's just focused in one place. It's a lot of different things coming together.
I've done some reading today. It's a large issue, and I'd say that most people, the layman, really isn't aware of this. Wouldn't you agree?
I would say that if they're watching particular kinds of documentaries or things like that, there's recently been one on the Barrier Reef, then they may be more informed. But I think in general, we don't really see much information on this, although it's a global phenomenon.
Dr. Crosby, I heard you sort of take issue with NOAA suggesting that this whole phenomena is slowing. You don't think that's the case?
No, I would agree with their forecast that in the near term there looks to be less of a probability of as massive or widespread bleaching due to the higher ocean temperatures. But on a more localized level, you will see an extremely high amount of variability. For instance, our researchers down in the Keys right now are telling me that we're this close to having a bleaching event, but the model is something that is really useful on a much larger regional and global scale as opposed to a local regional forecasting like perhaps a weather forecast would be.
I guess the big question I've been waiting to ask is what can be done to slow this down?
Well, you asked a very important question, and Mote's research is particularly focused on what can be done to mitigate the impacts of climate change. We're talking tonight about one of the primary impacts, which is the increasing water temperature, but there's also ocean acidification with the pH going down. Both of these stress corals to the point that they then become much more susceptible to disease. So it's a very large problem, and what Mote's research is focused on is how do we mitigate against those impacts. And in fact, we have had some phenomenal breakthroughs in new technologies that we are confident and we've demonstrated we are going to be able to restore Florida's coral reefs and coral reefs all around the world in our lifetime with this new technology that allows us to identify the particular genetic strains of the naturally occurring corals, but the genetic strains that are more resilient, more resistant to the increasing temperature, the decreasing pH, and to disease. So while society figures out how to deal with the forcing functions of climate change, Mote is focused on ensuring that we do not lose our coral reefs while we try to figure out what to do about it.
Once you identify exactly what you're talking about, how would you go about slowing down the effects in layman's terms?
We're already planting the coral reefs.
Planting.
We're already restoring the coral reefs. We have, to date, primarily had philanthropic support to do this. Much of the research was philanthropic, but we're very, very fortunate that this past legislative session, the state of Florida finally appropriated, and the governor signed off and approved a $500,000 allocation for us to actually implement on a much larger scale the coral restoration program in the Keys. And that's when we're going to need folks like Lisa and her dive club, because we're going to depend in great part on volunteer citizen scientists to help us. Everything from the dive clubs to the Young Scuba Nauts International program, to the Combat Wounded Veterans Challenge. All together with our scientists, we're going to come together and we're going to restore these coral reefs.
Yeah. Lisa began as a recreational dive club, and now suddenly you've been deputized as a volunteer citizen scientist.
Absolutely. It's been very fulfilling, as a matter of fact, and I'd love to encourage other divers in the area, women and men, to get more involved in what they can do to contribute to helping with the underwater research programs, coral restoration.
I heard a statistic during Kate Flexter's story earlier in the show that she said coral reefs generate $5 billion in economic activity and also 70,000 jobs. I said, how is that?
Let me offer a slight correction.
Yeah.
It's actually $6.2 billion just to the state of Florida alone, 71,000 jobs. All the biodiversity, 6,000 different species, the coastal resilience I talked to, and if you want a good healthy ocean, you need good healthy coral reefs. And if you think about the fact that 50 to 80% of the oxygen that you're breathing right now comes from the ocean, not from the land, you want to be able to breathe. If you don't care about the economy, you don't care about biodiversity, you want to be able to breathe, we need to restore these coral reefs.
You have my attention now. Yes. Well, when you talk about the impact on the economy, it's people like Lisa and her dive club at the smallest level, isn't it?
Yes, it absolutely is. When you think about recreational diving, commercial recreational fishing, all of the byproducts of a good healthy reef that really help us maintain and improve and enhance the quality of life for everyone in Florida. It doesn't matter where you live, you're connected to the reefs and to the ocean.
Dr. Gilchrist, are you pleased with what you've seen from Tallahassee so far? Is the government taking this seriously enough for you?
I think that it's beginning to, and it's very hard in some sense to explain when you're talking about things that are happening over long periods of time, and where you can show things that really are very, very incremental. And so it's hard to convince people of what the problems really are. So I'm not blaming anyone there, because there are certainly immediate problems that you want to address, but there are things that people in general can do, like pick up your bottles and your microplastics, watch those kinds of things. Watch how much water you're using, because that can cause problems when you have water running off into the ocean, fertilizer, all kinds of things. So there are a lot of things that individuals can do that are very, very important, that are going to be short term but have a long-term impact. And I think in Tallahassee, they're thinking about things like that as well. In terms of funding the research, like Michael was a little bit modest about some of the things, like some of the different clades or types of those algae are extremely important to understand, and how they interact, and some of them are more resilient. And even understanding that is something we've just really started to do, as well as the microbial community, which again, Moat, New College, and other places are really now starting to understand. So the funding is there, and it's coming, but it's coming slowly.
All right, we'll stop on that note and take a break, come back with some final thoughts on this topic, and your reaction to last night's show on transgenders in the military. Sharp turn. Stay with us.
Credit card debt can ruin your life. If you owe $10,000 and minimum payments are siphoning away your paycheck each month, you can get debt-free in less time than you think.
I've paid $800 a month for the past 3 years and haven't changed the balance on my credit card.
Get debt-free now has a program to reduce your debt, stop the harassing phone calls, avoid financial ruin, and settle for less than you owe.
I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off
off my shoulders.
You're pre-approved for our special hardship program if you owe $10,000 or more. Upon payment of your new lower balance, your debt will finally shrink until you are debt-free.
My family no longer has 30 years of payments ahead of us at 20% interest.
There's no fees until you see results. So call now, make one monthly program payment, and free up your cash. Resolve your debt.
Call 800-685-6422, 800-685-6422.
Hurricane season is here, and so is the official Suncoast Hurricane Guide from ABC7. This essential resource arms you with vital information you need to protect your family and property when severe weather threatens the Suncoast, including how to create your readiness plan and survival kit, shelter locations, what to do with pets, and important phone numbers. Visit mysuncoast.com and download the official Suncoast Hurricane Guide from ABC7. Brought to you by Batteries Plus, the Florida Lottery, and Sarasota Glass and Mirror.
Thanks to my volunteer, I am a better reader.
Thanks to my volunteer, math seems simple now.
Thanks to my volunteer, I discovered new career goals.
I'm a volunteer for Sarasota County Schools, so I know I can make a difference. And you can too. Give an hour, change a life.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blog, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
Welcome back. We're discussing the effects of coral bleaching and its impact on our local waterways and our economy. Our guests now have some final thoughts. We'll start with the founder of a local dive club. And Lisa, what are your thoughts on this issue?
My final thoughts would be, just from the recreational diver standpoint, is just get involved in your community. If you're a diver and you dive recreationally, you can make a difference and you can do your part. And they do really depend on us to compile some of the research that helps support some of these amazing programs that are out there.
Dr. Crosby?
Well, I think the panel that you've put together tonight is illustrative of exactly what we need to solve this problem and to ensure that we don't lose our coral reefs and they're here for the next generation. And it really is about the support from the community, but also the partnerships. The partnerships that MODE has with our volunteer citizen scientists, the partnerships that we have with the academic researchers and the students at New College. This is how we're going to address the problem. This is how we're going to solve the problem together.
Dr. Gilchrist.
I would have said the exact same thing that Michael did. I think education is the key, and education, everyone from our legislature down to our local population, it's our ocean, and if we don't take care of it, no one is. And so education is critical.
Education. Also, you mentioned how we can help locally from litter, of course, to watching our stormwater runoff with the sprinklers and the sewers and so forth and into the waterways.
Exactly, and picking up your trash when you go to the beach. Don't just pick up your trash, pick up other trash. There are all kinds of things that you can do at a very individual level that can make a difference.
We've got 10 seconds. Lisa, how do folks find out about your dive club if they want to get involved?
We are actually either on Meetup or womensdiveclub.com.
All right, very good. Before we go, we want to share some of the viewer letters about last night's topic. Very different topic, of course, President Trump's transgender military ban. You recall just last year, President Obama announced his administration would allow transgenders to serve. But now President Trump says their service has brought tremendous medical costs and disruption. According to the National Center for Transgender Equality, there are more than 134,000 American transgender veterans, with currently about 15,000 serving. So here are some of your comments. Jill said, "Sad day in America. Discrimination is shameful." Barbara said, "If generals and commanders are seeing a problem from the Obama decision to allow them in, then we need to trust their judgment that it needs to be reversed. Give the ones who are give those who are in an honorable discharge." Christine writes, 15,000 transgender troops already in the military. Kicking them out weakens our readiness, wouldn't you say? If you want to join the conversation on last night's topic or tonight's coral bleaching, go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/news@7. You can also watch past discussions on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and also on Roku. So thank you to our guests, Dr. Gilchrist, Dr. Crosby, and also Lisa Regas. Great to meet you all.
Nice to meet you too.
Likewise.
Great to see you. When we come back, a final look at our weather, plus a fun trip to the state fair turned deadly. The latest from Ohio, next in your primetime headlines.
Anyone can jumpstart your car, but for free installation and $10 off Duracell Ultra car batteries, there's no one like Batteries Plus bulbs.
I'll install it myself.
I'd like you to do it.
Visit batteriesplus.com for a store near you.
Attention blood thinner users. If your loved one took Xarelto or Pradaxa and suffered serious internal bleeding, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. The widely prescribed blood thinners Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to a number of dangerous side effects, including internal bleeding, gastrointestinal bleeding, kidney bleeding, stroke, brain hemorrhaging, and even death. If you or a loved one suffered any of these injuries after taking Xarelto or Pradaxa, call right now. You may be owed significant compensation from the manufacturer. Thousands of blood thinner users may have been exposed to serious risk by these dangerous medications. If you or a loved one took Xarelto or Pradaxa and suffered serious internal bleeding, call right now. Call Nightline Legal to speak with an experienced attorney for a free consultation. If we don't win, there is no fee. There are time deadlines to file a claim, so don't wait. Call right now.
Call 1-800-554-3987. Again, that's 1-800-554-3987.
This is the story of a boy who was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7, your Suncoast News.
Questions being raised about the benefits of brain training games in the next Health Smart.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Primetime headlines next, but first, the forecast. For that, we turn to our chief meteorologist, Bob Harrigan. Bob?
Thanks, Ray. Right now, the sun getting ready to set pretty soon here. We have some high clouds around. Should be a nice sunset. No real threat of any significant rainfall around town at this point. So if you have any outdoor activities, not going to be interrupted by any kind of storms around right now. Tomorrow morning could be a different story, though. We are looking for the possibility of a few coastal showers like we saw this morning. Some rain and some pretty big storms down south of us along Alligator Alley and just off the southeast portion of Highlands County this evening, but not a lot going on. Currently, sunshine, 88 degrees, still pretty warm. Winds out of the west at 8, and the pressure falling ever so slightly now, 2996. And the heat index, it feels like 98 degrees. A high tomorrow, right around 90, which is normal. And with the factor in the humidity, it will feel more like about 100. We'll look for partly cloudy skies. As I mentioned, there's a chance for a few coastal showers in the morning. Not a lot of widespread rain, but there could be a couple of out there when we wake up tomorrow, right around sunrise. Well, in the Atlantic, things are fairly quiet. This is a large area of disturbed weather here, a tropical wave, and it looks as though it has a 30% chance developing in the next 5 days. As it marches off to the west, the area in yellow is the area where it should be in about 5 days from now. So we have a long time to watch it. Nothing brewing in the Caribbean at this point. Upper level low spinning just north of Cuba. Indications are a cold front, unusual cold front to come down this far south in late July could generate an area of low pressure off the Carolina coast, and similar to what we see during the winter. A nor'easter could develop and cause all sorts of headaches for the northeast United States in about 4 or 5 days from now. Futurecast showing generally partly cloudy skies overnight with a chance for a few showers to develop in the morning right along the coastline, and then those will have a tendency to work in at that west wind will push them away from the coastline, so the beaches look to be pretty good. And then similar conditions anticipated on Saturday, a chance for a few morning showers around. You see this is 9:30 a.m., a little snapshot there of what's to be expected on Saturday with a few storms around. It shouldn't be around all that long, and then it should push off to the east once again in the afternoon and evening. A different story and scenario setting up, though, for Sunday. Temperatures right now, 79 in Buffalo, 72 in Portland, 81 in Pittsburgh, so a bit cooler over the northeast. Still hot, though, over the northern plains and in the northern Rockies at 90 degrees now into Montana. 98 degrees in Dallas, 107 in Phoenix, and 91 in Macon. A big difference in Atlanta now, 76 with some showers around there, keeping things a bit cooler. Well, the National Satellite and Radar imagery showing quite a bit of clouds around and showers along a cold front. That's that cold front I mentioned. It's marching southeastward right now, and this will continue to move off to Georgia and looks like Alabama and Mississippi throughout the day tomorrow, eventually settling over the northern Gulf of Mexico. It's not going to push through and cool us down, but it will bring us, it looks like a better chance for some rainfall come Sunday and Monday. Well, for beach and boating weather tomorrow, winds out of the southwest, turning to the west at 5 to 10 knots. Seas will be 1 to 2 feet with a light chop, and looks like that will continue on in through Saturday, too. The water temperature now at 91 degrees, and the UV index at an 11. So it's high. Put up the sunscreen, load it up. You're going to need it tomorrow if you're heading to the beaches or if you're outdoors, for that matter. Tides upcoming. Low tide will be at 11:20 and a high tide at 5:04. And another low tide at 11:27. Sunset will be at 8:22, sunrise at 6:52. Tonight, partly cloudy. Now that 20% chance for thunder showers begins mainly after about 2 a.m. and 79 will be your low. That's well above average. Northwest winds 5 to 10. Tomorrow, a few coastal showers are possible, then mainly east of I-75 in the afternoon, a high of 91. And the extended forecast is calling for the same conditions on Saturday, maybe a little bit more activity around, but then it really starts to pick up on Sunday, and that will continue right through Thursday. Prime Time Headlines is next with Ray Collins. Stick around.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
If you're only hungry for a slice of apple pie, why buy the whole pie? And you certainly wouldn't want to pay for an all-you-can-eat buffet. So if you don't use your cell phone that much, why get charged for a plan that's too big or even an unlimited plan? Luckily, there's still a wireless company that shares your values. Welcome to Consumer Cellular. Our average customer pays about $25 a month for everything they need. Many pay even less, as plans start at just $10 a month. You'll get a straightforward bill that's easy to understand, with no surprises, and all the attention you deserve from our friendly customer service team. No wonder Consumer Cellular has received J.D. Power Awards for highest customer service. Plus, if you're an AARP member, you'll receive special discounts. It's easy to switch. You can even keep your phone and your number. So stop paying for more than you need and start your 30-day risk-free trial today. Call 800-457-2317, go online, or visit a Target store today.
Keep up with your investments and market trends by watching the ABC7 Stock Report. Get a recap of all the day's stock market activity. Be sure to watch your Suncoast News at 6 for the ABC7 Stock Report, sponsored by Sunset Cadillac.
Topping our primetime headlines, an update on the tragedy at the Ohio State Fair that killed one person and injured 7 others. The manufacturer of the ride responsible is ordering the rides to be shut down there and also around the world. The Fireball ride broke apart while people were riding on it, causing them to fly off. Officials say the ride passed many inspections before it still broke apart.
Then as they were getting off the ride, it happened simultaneously. Looked over to the right, seen the cart flying, 2 people flying out their seats. It was crazy.
The fair is open, but all rides remain closed until they are inspected by the state. Other news now, the investigation into possible leaks from within the White House continues tonight, now with the communications director leading the charge. ABC's Karen Travers has more from the White House.
Infighting in the Trump White House is nothing new. There is constant drama about who's in, who's out of the inner circle. But it may be hitting a new level with a very public airing of dirty laundry by the newest member of the team. Anthony Scaramucci is on an aggressive crusade. Nefarious, unnecessary, backstabbing. Just a few of the ways the new White House communications director described what he says are leaks coming from inside the building. Scaramucci has vowed to crack down, and so far it seems like everybody's a suspect. In a since-deleted tweet overnight, Scaramucci suggesting the embattled Chief of Staff Reince Priebus was the source of a news story about Scaramucci's financial holdings. Scaramucci writing he would be contacting the FBI and the Justice Department. That story was based on publicly available information, and Scaramucci now insisting the deleted tweet was misinterpreted. But Thursday morning on CNN,
if Reince wants to explain that he's not a leaker, let him do that.
It's the latest chapter in the rocky relationship between these two senior officials, but the White House not weighing in.
The president, as always, enjoys healthy competition.
There has been an issue in this White House of leaks of sensitive information, transcripts of President Trump's conversations with world leaders, for example. But in theory, Anthony Scaramucci's firing authority would only extend to his communications team, and that's not where many of these headlines are coming from. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
The largest development project in Wisconsin's history, that's all. President Trump says the electronic company Foxconn will soon build a $10 billion factory in Wisconsin. The building of the factory is expecting to initially create about 3,000 jobs there. The campus will be about 1.6 miles, which is 3 times the size of the Pentagon. The factory is set to be open in about 3 years. The launch of a major communications satellite is going to be delayed by more than 2 weeks. The cause of the delay is due to one of the antennas on the tracking and data relay satellite breaking earlier this month during final launch preparations. So liftoff is now expected to be on August 20th aboard an Atlas rocket from Cape Canaveral. Well, that's our news for tonight. I'm Ray Collins in for Alan Cohn. We'll see you again tomorrow morning, bright and early. Set your alarms. 5 o'clock we come on with Jacqueline Matter and also meteorologist John Scalzi. 5 days a week from 5 to 7 right here on ABC7. Good morning, Suncoast. More news and weather tonight with Haley and Bob. Have a nice night, folks.